Hello! Today we review separable and inseparable prefix verbs in conversational past. That is what we call perfect in German. First of all, what are verbs with inseparable and separable prefix? A prefix is the first part of a verb. Here we have examples anmachen, mitspielen, aufhängen. That is to turn on, to play with, and to hang up. You see that I marked one part in red and one part in blue. The red part is a prefix. When we have separable prefixes, the prefix is at the end of the sentence. So you see in the present tense, ich mache das Licht an. I turn on the light. Sie spielt im Team mit. She's playing in the team. Wir hängen das Poster auf. We hang up the poster. So the separable part is always at the end. You might remember that from the present tense. There are also verbs that have inseparable prefixes. These prefixes are be, as in bestehen, as in erzählen, as in empfehlen, like in gefallen, for example in zerbrechen, and, like in entscheiden, or like in vergessen. So whenever you see these prefixes, they do not separate from the verb. For example, ich bestehe das Examen instead of ich stehe das Examen B. It does not get separated. Entscheidet das Duell. Wir empfehlen den Film, and so on. So you see the red part, the particle, the prefix, does not separate from the verb. Now, let's take one step back. Remember how to build the participle, that is the GE form, in the conversational past. You have GE, the stem of the verb, and a T when you have regular verbs. For example, fragen is gefragt in the participle. Machen becomes gemacht. And spielen is gespielt. So in blue you see the stem and you have the GE and T added. Now for regular verbs that have a separable prefix, you have the same mechanism, plus you add the prefix at the beginning of the participle. So again, we have three verbs: anmachen, to turn on, mitspielen, to play with, and aufhängen, to hang up. In the past tense, this becomes angemacht. Mitspielen has mitgespielt as a GE form. And aufhängen has aufgehängt. So the only new information is that you add the prefix before the GE form. If we have inseparable prefix verbs, what happens? We have the prefix, but we don't have a GE. Then comes the stem and the regular T ending. So a verb like erzählen, to tell, is erzählt. Ich habe erzählt. I have told. So you see, there's no GE. What about irregular verbs? So there's no new rule, except for that you use the same irregular form, and in the case of a separable prefix, you have the same pattern. Prefix, GE, irregular form. For example, if you consider the verb fangen, to catch, I caught, ich habe gefangen. Now with a separable prefix verb like anfangen, to begin, you build the past tense. Angefangen. Ich habe angefangen. Another irregular verb is bringen. So you know already that the past tense form is ich habe gebracht. Now consider the verb mitbringen, that has a separable prefix, and you build the form mitgebracht. The same happens with stehen, to stand. I stood, or I have stood. Ich habe gestanden. Now if you have the verb aufstehen, you have the separable prefix auf, and you add the irregular form, aufgestanden. And see what happens if you have an inseparable prefix verb that is irregular. Again, you have a prefix, you have no GE, and then the irregular form. So verstehen, to understand, is ich habe verstanden. I have understood. Zerbrechen, to break. Ich habe zerbrochen. I have broke. Just as a quick review, do you need sein or haben as the helping verb? This rule is the exact same as for all other verbs. So again, if you have a change of motion from A to B, you would use sein plus the participle, so the GE form. For example, mitfahren, ich bin mitgefahren. So you choose sein, you have a separate prefix, GE, and then the irregular form, fahren. If you have a change of state, you also choose sein, as for all other verbs. These separable or inseparable prefix verbs are not an exception. So consider the example aufstehen. You have ich bin aufgestanden. And in all other cases, you use have as helping verb, as for example in entscheiden, to decide, I have decided, ich habe entschieden. Aufmachen, to open, ich habe aufgemacht. Here we see two examples. The first one, entscheiden, is inseparable, and the second one, aufstehen, is separable, which is why you have a GE in the middle.